Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. Hold on a second. Don't like that colour. Please change that colour. Thank you. Yeah, bit too distracting for you guys. Welcome to Snowflake Corner, episode 62. We'll be covering stories from outside the UK. Date and time for this is the 8th of April 2025 at 6 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. So welcome everyone, hope you're all doing well. I've got 5 stories just today, just 5. I don't know if we'll cover all 5, we'll see how it goes. The chesty cough has not gone in any way, shape or form, I just want to stress that now. Like this morning, I still haven't finished my honey and lemon drink, so I may stop a few times just to drink that as we go through, but I want to keep it to an hour if we can. Try to keep it to an hour. I don't want to go too long because it will hurt my voice, guys. So let's dive into the first story, guys, that we have here tonight. Very interesting. Now, the reason I brought up this story from CNN is because of the well, how can I put this? So obviously, so when we talked last, I think it was last week here on the show, Marine Le Pen had been found guilty of embezzlement, and she has vowed obviously to fight that conviction. But it's interesting. But I picked up this story because it was because of the headline here. So Le Pen vows to fight conviction in front of supporters, but large-scale protests failed to materialize. Now, I find this extremely fascinating that the large-scale protests failed to materialize, considering how popular Marine Le Pen really is. Good evening, Jao. Hope you are doing well, my friend. This is very... I think this is quite significant because members of the French public are being asked to choose between supporting the French law system or supporting Le Pen in this scenario. And it looks like that some people have chosen to take a step back in their support for Le Pen. Based on this, I'm just saying based on this, it does make me wonder how the party itself, now that she's at the moment, currently out of the situation, it does make me wonder how they're going to cope without Le Pen being able to run for president. I do think that's going to be fascinating for the next when the next presidential election takes place. Obviously the thought process is that because she's banned for 5 years, she'll run in the decade in the next 5 years on after the ban is lifted from her conviction. But we can't get there just yet because still there is an appeals process. So there is still a possibility that she can appeal and still win that appeal. I know it seems unlikely, but I still think that is the case here. It's very, very fascinating to say the least here. So let's have a read into this, you guys. So the leaders of France's National Rally RN party, Marine Le Pen, told supporters that she would not give up despite being found guilty of embezzling European Union funds and banned from running for office. But large-scale protests against the move did not materialize on Sunday. The RN called on its supporters to mobilize in Place Vauban in Paris, near the historic Les Invalides, to defend freedom, save democracy, and support Marine. Protesters waved their tricolour flags, with a CNN team on the ground seeing what appeared to be a few thousand in attendance in protest of Le Pen's barring from the 2027 election. So there was a few thousand, so it wasn't like a mass gathering, and this was a Sunday as well. It's not like during the week where they have to work as well, so that's also important. Speaking to the crowd on Sunday, Le Pen reiterated her stance on the ruling being politically motivated. And this is not a judicial decision, it is a political decision, she said. The protesters were met with rival rallies by left-wing parties and groups on the opposite sides of Paris. The organisers, Égolitiers, I know I'm going to botch the words, and the French unaballed parties said thousands of people were in attendance at the counter-protests, where a large banner read, "Let's not let the far right get away with it." Le Pen, who was the frontrunner for France's next presidential election in 2 years, was convicted by a Paris court on Monday for using more than 4.5 million euros of EU money to pay for her party's political staff from 2004 to 2016, while falsely claiming they were working as assistants to members of the European Parliament. The court handed Le Pen a 4-year prison sentence with 2 years suspended to be served under house arrest and a €100,000 fine. The presiding judge in the case, one second. I haven't been using my voice all day today, just for reference. Benedict del Partidis said the politician's actions amounted to a serious and lasting attack on the rules of democratic life in Europe, but especially in France. Le Pen slammed the ruling as a purely political decision in a televised interview and claimed the rule of law had been completely violated. Well, here's the thing: like, if the rules were bent or broken, you have to pay the price for it, and that's basically what's happened here. The decision has dealt a severe blow to Le Pen's ambition to win at the Élysée Palace at her 4th attempt in 2027, when the current President Emmanuel Macron will be unable to seek a 3rd consecutive term. The politically explosive ruling drew condemnation from her right-wing allies in Europe and across the Atlantic. US President Donald Trump threw his support behind the Iron leader on Friday, calling the court ruling a witch hunt and writing on social media, "Free Marine Le Pen." Of course he would. Of course he would side with Le Pen on this. But I bet Donald Trump doesn't even know anything about it. He says, "Well, they're far right, so I have to support them." That's basically his position on it. Sorry about that. Some of Le Pen's rivals have even voiced concerns over the implementation of the sentence, with Prime Minister François Bayrou said that he was troubled, while the French Justice Minister Gérald Darmanin posted on X in November that it would be profoundly shocking if she were to be barred from elections. Le Pen says she will appeal the ban, but the Paris Court of Appeals offering a potential lifeline by allowing for a decision to be made by June 2026. If she were to win her appeal, she could still run for the presidential elections the following year. That's very weird. So is it possible that she can run while the appeal goes? And then what happens if she loses the appeal? Does her candidacy become null and void then? Is that what's going to happen? So she could still, yeah. Oh no, if she wouldn't her appeal, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I misread that. Yeah, but I just find it interesting that only a few thousand turned up. I mean, that's still a big crowd and support for her. There's still a big crowd of support for her. But I think some people are like, I think some French people are probably thinking that they probably don't want to go against the French system on that. But I think it's quite interesting, to say the least, that the large-scale protest failed to materialize. And the same amount of protesters, counter-protesters, were there, about 7, roughly around about the same number according to CNN there. But interesting to say the least there. God damn it. Jal says Le Pen promised honesty and delivered corruption. She was already shaken with the Putin business. This was another blow. But she's not going away. That's the thing. She's not going away yet. And the thing is that she's still going to be around the party, even if the appeal fails. Like she will try to big up the party as much as she possibly can. That's one thing she'll definitely try to do. So as you guys know, it seems like the markets are starting to settle a little bit today in comparison to yesterday. But I want to cover one of many. There are many areas where the tariffs are really hitting lots of nations brutally. Obviously, China's the main topic one. But I thought this piece from AP on South Africa was a very interesting one to cover. So Trump's tariffs threaten 35,000 jobs. Entire towns in South Africa's circus sector, the farming group says. Let's just read a bit more into this, you guys. So The new 30% tariffs set to be imposed on South Africa by the Trump administration will threaten 35,000 jobs in the country's circus growing sector and the economies of entire towns, a farming group has said today. The Circus Growers Association of Southern Africa said the impending reprimandable tariffs due to come into effect on Wednesday will be deeply damaging to South Africa's largest agricultural export. The group said the tariffs would likely make South Africa's citrus fruit, I've been saying circus and it's supposed to be citrus, apologies. Citrus fruits cost $4.25 more per carton for American consumers. South Africa provides citrus to the UK market when it is out of season there. South Africa is the second biggest exporter of oranges behind Spain, and the world's fourth largest exporter of citrus fruits, according to the World Citrus Organization. South Africa sends around 5 to 6% of its citrus exports to the United States, which is more than 6.5 million cartons per year, the Growers Association has said. But some rural towns were specifically geared to and heavily depend on the US market. This is so infuriating for American businesses out there, those who sell the citrus in the country, and those who rely on it. And that South Africa's been hit with this because it exports it to the US because it's considered a good market to sell to them. And South Africa are being punished here for no reason whatsoever. If South Africa was to turn off the taps, it would hurt themselves if they were to turn off the taps and on this situation. $4.25 more, and that's per carton. And you think about how much they send as well. Just put that perspective there. And obviously, there's loads of different stories like these about different countries as well that have these similar situations. The farmers group cited the case of the town in Citrusdal near Cape Town and said it faces major job losses and maybe even total economic collapse because it was built on exporting citrus to the United States. It said there were other rural towns like it. So they've their whole dependent on exporting it to the US. If they lose that, they're screwed. They're literally screwed, guys. But it's easy to turn around and say, well, you shouldn't be just relying on the US. You should rely on other countries to take it in too. Well, some other countries can't take it in because they grow their own. Some countries are not able to take it, or they've already got a market of where they get it from. And this is a lot, for them. Like, these changes are happening too fast for people to respond in a reasonable manner. But Donald Trump doesn't seem to care about any of this. There is immense anxiety in our communities, said Gerrit van der Meer, the chairman of the Citrus Growers Association and a citrus farmer near Citrusdal. The group said the tariffs were due to come into effect the same week the first citrus fruit of the South African season was being packed to be exported to the United States. And he said it was urgently calling on the South African government to prioritise negotiations with the US on tariff reductions or exemptions on citrus. Citrus is not produced in a factory. The Citrus Growers Association CEO Boshodo Nibashki has said South African citrus growers do not compete with US citrus growers, and in fact, quite the opposite. A highly quality produce sustains consumers' interest when the US local citrus is out of season, eventually benefiting US growers when we hand it over at the end of the season. South Africa, the most diverse economy in Africa, has been especially hard hit by the policies of US President Donald Trump. Trump's cuts to US foreign aid removed significant funding from South Africa's aid program. Yep. I don't know if I covered it in a short. I don't know if I covered this one specifically in a short, but yeah, they had the cutting from foreign aid as well. So add on top of their problems. Apologies there. Which is the largest in the world and treats around 5.5 million people. Trump also has issued an executive order stopping other federal funding to South Africa over what he said was the South African government's mistreatment of white minority farmers, many of whom could now be negatively impacted by his new tariffs. And what, like even I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form about South Africa's economy right now. But what evidence does he have that white minority farmers are being treated indifferently here? And the Association Press here, who have far better knowledge on this than I do, are literally saying that they're going to be they could be negatively impacted by the new tariffs. So how is this exactly helping them on this? It's not. It's very racial profiling as well to speak about specifically white South Africans as well from Donald Trump. But we know he's a racist, a bigot, and misogynistic because of his past language. So we language that he has said. So we know what he's capable of. Zhao has said they should have not depended so much on the US like some of our businesses in the EU and the UK, or having to learn a lesson to not work with the US. There's a little saying about not putting all your eggs in one basket. If you do, you could always put that at risk. Always try to reach out and grow new markets whenever you possibly can. And it feels like South Africa are really scrambling here. It feels like the case that they're really scrambling. I'm going to keep drinking this because I need this to help me get through. But yeah, very concerning indeed. This next story is so interesting. I have not. So some of you guys may have heard this story already, and I'm really fascinated to get hear what you guys think about this one here. So Ukraine has captured 2 Chinese nationals fighting for Russia, Zelensky has said. So this is a screenshot from a video purporting to show Chinese soldiers captured by Ukraine while fighting for Russia, apparently. So basically Zelensky is saying here, hey, Ukraine are basically China are basically fighting on behalf of Russia here. Now, I have not, at the time of this live stream, I've not seen a response from China. They may have responded already, and I haven't seen it. It's possible. But this is quite an intriguing developments, because we know that North Korean soldiers have been sent by Pyongyang to support Russia in this war. We know that they're doing that. But this is the first time we're seeing Chinese nationals in this situation. And it raises the question of China in all this as well. Especially when China's position has been kind of neutral, not siding with us on how wrong it is for what Russia are doing. But they've also been on the position of not criticizing Russia. They've been very neutral. Obviously, this news obviously changes that position quite drastically here. Now, this doesn't mean that this is necessarily. I can't say definitively China is involved. It's entirely possible, and this is. I know it seems exaggerated what I'm about to say. It's entirely possible these 2 Chinese nationals came with the North Korean troops in some way, shape, or form. It's possible, but we honestly don't know. It's possible that some Chinese nationals may have chosen to volunteer and fight for Russia on behalf of Russia in this war. Again, it's not impossible, and it is only at the moment is only 2 Chinese nationals that we know about. But if we see more reports of more Chinese, then obviously you can say definitively that the government is involved in this. I think 2 is not really enough to say, yeah, China are definitely supporting Russia. It's not enough to say that, in my opinion. I know some people may slightly disagree, but I don't think there's enough evidence at the moment. And it is early days on this story, guys. So Ukrainian troops have captured 2 Chinese nationals who are fighting in the ranks of the Russian military against Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky has said today. We have information that there are much more than 2 Chinese citizens in the occupied units, Zelensky said. We have the documents of these prisoners, bank cards and personal data. So he's saying that there is more than 2 Chinese citizens, apparently. Ukrainian troops clashed with 6 Chinese soldiers near the villages of Tasviska and Balavivia in Donetsk Oblast, according to the president. So he's claiming that there were more. There's quite a lot of them. He's claiming there's 6 soldiers there plus the 2 here then. Interesting. The 2 captured are being held by Ukraine's security service, according to Zelensky. He instructed the foreign minister Abiy Sosgab to urgently contact Beijing to determine how Chinese officials will respond. Sybiska said that Ukraine had summoned China's charge to tariffs to express condemnation and demand an explanation regarding the matter. Chinese citizens fighting as part of Russia's invasion army in Ukraine puts into question China's declared stance for peace and undermines Beijing's credibility as a responsible permanent member of the UN Security Council, the minister posted on X. Zelensky emphasized the apparent recruitment of Chinese nationals, whether direct or indirect, highlighting the Kremlin's commitment to continue its aggression. That's a very good way of putting it. We definitely need a reaction to this, a reaction from the United States, Europe and everyone in the world who wants peace, he said. Ukraine added that China is another country along with Iran and North Korea that supports Russia in its war against Ukraine. I haven't seen reports of any Iranians involved, soldier-wise. And I think that's probably because of the tensions that are taking place right now in the Middle East. It's really, really bad. Sorry, guys, I am trying to finish this. It's very important for my health, guys. Honey and lemon. I hate it, but it does help. Yeah, because obviously Iran doesn't have the support. Hezbollah have been reduced to ash. Yemen, the Houthi rebels are not doing very well, and obviously Syria had overthrown its last president. So Iran does not have many friends right now. And to them, they're not going to be saying. I know they're supplying Russia with drones. We have covered those stories before. But I don't think they've sent any troops. At least I've not seen any stories of them sending troops. That could possibly change. And obviously we know about North Korea. But there is a difference. North Koreans fought against us in the Kush direction. The Chinese are fighting on the territory of Ukraine, the president said at a press conference with Belgian Prime Minister Bart de Wever. Can we play the video? I might have to mute it due to copyright, but let's see if we can play it. 1 second, guys.
走到地方，呜呜呜，嘣嘣嘣嘣嘣嘣嘣嘣嘣，然后我的 commander， 嘣，然后就，哇，然后就啊，然后我就呀啊，然后他就就跟那个
，very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. China has been a key strategic partner to Russia since the start of the full-scale invasion, expanding trade and becoming Moscow's top supplier of dual-use goods used in weapon production. Zelensky's statement follows the earlier deployment of up to 12,000 North Korean troops to Kursk Oblast last fall to support Russian forces in repelling a Ukrainian cross-border incursion. Ukrainian troops initially captured around 1,300 kilometers before being pushed back in the counteroffensive and reinforced by North Korean units. The town of Suezka was among the territories retaken. Yeah, we looked at the Deep State map last week. It's they've pretty much pushed Ukraine almost completely out of the territory they took. Almost pushed them out, I would say. According to Zelensky, North Korean unit fighting for Russia have suffered around 4,000 casualties, 2/3 of them killed. In response, Pyongyang reportedly transferred an additional 3,000 soldiers to Russia in January. And in February to replenish losses, AP News have reported on the 27th of March. Yeah, so officially we don't know what China's position is on this. But it'll be interesting. But China will have this question put to them one way or another. So they will have to respond at some point to this. Zhao says, I have heard about this before. There was even a video about Chinese wounded soldiers returned to China and complaining about the poor treatment and care in Russia field hospitals. A part of me thinks it might be volunteers Chinese. But if you take the account of what Zelensky's saying there, like 8 Chinese does seem like a lot of Chinese soldiers are part of this situation. It does seem like that, doesn't it? So, it's a very interesting. We need to hear from China on that situation. But as for the war front itself, they're still taking territory, but it's very, very slow at the moment for Russia, despite everything that's going on, guys. The next story I've got for you guys is in all the way from Germany. Go into Europe with this one. This is so Germany. We remember back under Angela Merkel, the former German chancellor, when she was the chancellor. There was that time period where, Germany welcomed refugees. They welcomed new people. They wanted to help people, get them settled and give them new lives and new meaning. Well, those days have long gone now. So Germany is halting its United Nations refugee resettlement program, according to Al Jazeera here. The next German government, likely to be led by a centre-right CDU, is expected to be tougher on migration. To be fair, considering how much migration that they have taken in, and they have taken a lot in, it is understandable why they are. Is understandable to a certain extent why they have taken them in, because they have taken a lot more in comparison to other nations when it comes to migration. Excuse me. So yeah, many Germans, especially from the east side, feel a sense of the same thing that I would say that people here on the right in the UK feel, that they feel that their country is being taken from them, it's being overrun by Muslims and all, and that kind of language, that kind of tone is being boggled into their minds. Most of the population that are, I would say, more appealing to right and far right parties are those from Eastern Germany rather than Western Germany, based on the context of the history of the two of East and West Germany, obviously. And I do recommend checking out the a bit more, diving in more into the history between West and East Germany, because there really is a lot of contrast between the two in the two sides of the country on that. So Germany has suspended the admission of refugees through a United Nations program, according to a document seen by Reuters news agency, as a new Conservative-led coalition prepares to take office. So Reuters reported on Thursday that the Federal Ministry of the Interior had made the decision as negotiations between the centre-right Christian Democrats, the CDU, and the centre-left Social Democrats, the SPD, continue, with both sides likely to agree on a tougher migration and asylum policy. The German DPA news agency also reported that the Interior Minister and the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, that's the UNHCR, had confirmed news of the suspension. Migration has been a contentious issue in Germany, the third largest refugee hosting country in the world, with 2.5 million refugees, including more than 1 million refugees from Ukraine. But a growing number of German voters want the country to accept fewer migrants. And if I'm at, here's the thing. I always want people to have an opportunity for a better life for themselves. I really do. But I try to put myself in the shoes of some of these German voters. Considering 2.5 million have come in, I can understand why Germans want fewer migrants. I can understand that frustration, because there's a sense that from their perspective they feel that they have taken more than enough of their fair share, and they want other nations to take in more, and for them to take far less now because of how much that they have taken in under, more or less under Merkel's reign, than any other time period. I know I don't want to be at this. I don't want to come across like that we shouldn't be accepting. Let me just take away the Discord in case it beeps. I don't want to come across like that I'm not anti-migrant in any way, shape, or form. And I'm sure you guys know that's not what I'm trying to come across. But I'm also thinking from the perspective that they've taken in so many, and they just want a bit of space, the people. And this is at a time where global migration is really high, and it's only getting higher because of the conflicts that are happening. I mean, we're going to have a new one, if not any moment now, in South Sudan going to kick off because of the tension there. You know, Sudan, Gaza, Myanmar, the other conflicts in Africa that we don't, are not mentioned almost never on this channel. There's so many. Going is trough at the face of the USA, and the further reason to never support the USA again, says Zhao there. Oh dear. Even here, the law changed, and in the next year, a lot of immigrants will have to leave, says Zhao. That's from Portugal, for reference, anyone knows that. He also said, and this is me, a moderate person. Imagine what the extremists are spewing and growing. Exactly. Yeah. This is the problem. But the thing is that these people don't have homes to go to because their countries are in war, or they're hostile to them, and they don't have a way out for them. Good evening, Stephen Banker. Hope you're doing well. Immigration and asylum were hotly discussed before February's general election, in which the far right, the AfD, doubled its vote share after several violent attacks blamed on refugees or asylum seekers. Yeah, this amplified it as well. The issue has been discussed as part of a coalition negotiations between the CDU and the SPD, with the CDU pushing for asylum seekers to be turned away from Germany's borders on the grounds that they have already passed through a safe country. Then legally, you can't really do that. You can't really do that legally. The two sides have struck a preliminary agreement to end voluntary federal admission programs for refugees such as the UN program, the only one currently active, and not to launch any new ones according to documents seen by rhetorics. Since 2016, Germany has participated in the European Union's resettlement scheme that accepts refugees selected by the UNHCR. Most come from Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, or Kenya. The Interior Minister said 4,711 people had arrived in Germany through the program since 2024. Out of 13,000 refugees that Germany had promised the European Commission it would take in for 2024 and 2025 combined. Despite the suspension, admissions that are already well advanced with concrete commitments will go ahead, a ministry spokesperson has said. On Monday, Germany said it no longer took top spot in the European Union for new asylum applications. Local media outlets reported citing EU data that puts France and Spain ahead. I wonder how many of them are Brits. Interior Minister Nancy Freschke was quoted as saying that the latest figures reflected measures taken to restrain irregular migration towards Europe as a whole, as well to Germany itself. Yeah. Yeah, I've in terms of global migration, I've always said that unless we deal with the countries that they are coming from, and we know most of the countries where they're coming from mostly from Africa, the Middle East, on that continent there, because that's where most of them are coming from. Unless we are prepared to help and invest to help these countries, this is a situation that's going to continue to escalate. It's an easy attack line. It's an easy one to win the public over, saying that all these people are taking your jobs, taking your money, taking your livelihoods. It's so easy to play that on people. It really, really is. It's too easy. It's too easy for people to paint the narrative that all your problems rely on that immigrant, not the richest or wealthiest in society. No, it's those people come across the river. Those people coming across the Mediterranean, who are deliberately and intentionally coming into our country, coming into your home, who actually, most of them are working and contributing to society. They're the problem. Not the richest and wealthiest in society that should be paying their fair share of tax. No. It's all your problems. Well, it's that man across the road. It's that man who's trying to make a life for himself. It's not us, the rich and the wealthy. It's too easy for them, guys. It's way too easy for them. What happened to morals, dignity, and empathy, says Stephen Banker? Exactly. That's one thing we've lost a lot. We took around 50,000 Brits until we cancelled the golden visa, says Zhao. 50,000 Brits. Maybe I should have taken it up when I had the chance. So, guys, I got one last story for you guys here. Like I said, I wasn't going to go long because of my voice, but I do have one more thing after this before we head out. But this one here is quite I figured this is this story from NBC News, and I have seen the tweets. It's quite funny to say the least. So Elon Musk calls Trump's top trade advisor Peter Navarro a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks. The spat underscores the discourse among the president's top allies over his sweeping tariffs set to go into effect this week. I like this. You're a moron and you're dumber than a sack of bricks. And I just like it. Considering that the Trump administration is literally destroying the world right now, we need a bit of a laugh here, because not everyone in that administration is completely on the same page here. In fact, Elon Musk is actually against the tariffs. Based on what he has been saying, he's clearly not keen on this at all. But we know that Donald Trump, all throughout his history, has been keen on it. The second largest immigrant community, Reganelite, and just in 2022, more than 42,000 got Portuguese nationality. No, I don't blame them. Like, what's happening in the UK right now is really, really bad. And I don't blame them for staying in Portugal and getting nationalities in Portuguese. I don't blame them one bit, those Brits, at all. No, don't blame them at all. But the most important thing is, as long as they're happy, that's the most important thing, guys. As long as they are happy, that's the main thing. This is funny. Let's have a look at this, guys. So Elon Musk on Tuesday blasted President Donald Trump's top trade advisor, Peter Navarro, as a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks, in a spat that underscores the discourse among the president's top allies over his sweeping tariffs set to go into effect this week. During a CNBC interview on Monday, Navarro took a shot at Musk, saying that the billionaire Tesla CEO is not a car manufacturer but a car assembler who obtains cheap parts for Tesla vehicles from abroad. This is true. We know it's true because the parts are so crap and flimsy. We know they are because there's been so many reports of them, of just how soft the materials really, really are. So that is the truth. I like that he calls him a car assembler, not a car manufacturer. We all understand in the White House, and the American people understand that Elon's a car manufacturer, but he's not a car. Elon's a car manufacturer, but he's not a car manufacturer. He's a car assembler in many cases. He said that at Musk's Tesla plant in Texas, a portion of the engines, at least for electric vehicles, contains batteries that come from Japan and China, and other electronics are imported from Taiwan. The difference is, in our thinking and Elon on this, is that we want that tries made in Akron. We want the transmission made in Indianapolis. And we want the engines made in Flint and Sangaroo. And we want those car manufacturers here, Navarro has said. He went on to suggest that acquiring car parts from foreign countries is bad for our economies and bad for our national security. Like this one here is the most BS thing out of everything that I've read here. Like, my God, how is this bad for national security? This is bollocks. It's so much bollocks. We want them to come here, and with Elon, he's fine. He's the car man. He's a car person. That's what he does. And he wants the cheap foreign parts, and we understand that. But we want them home, said Navarro, who added, and everything's good with Elon. Replying to an ex-post on the Navarro interview, Musk said that Navarro is truly a moron. What he says here is demonstrably false, Musk wrote in one post, adding that in another post that Tesla has had most American-made cars. Navarro is dumber than a sack of bricks. Bloody hell, my voice is killing right now. Musk broke with Trump on Saturday on the tariffs, saying that an event he wants to see a zero tariff situation between the US and Europe. Navarro responded to Musk's comments during an interview with Fox News Sunday Morning Future, saying it was interesting to hear Elon Musk at the beginning talk about a zero tariff zone with Europe. He didn't understand that. The thing that's, I think, important about Elon to understand is that he sells cars. Asked if there is an internal rift between the two Trump advisors, Navarro said there is no rift here, even though he was called a moron. He added, "We don't mind him saying whatever he wants, but just the American people need to understand that we understand what that's all about. It's fine." Navarro, a long-time ally of the president, butted heads with other White House officials during Trump's first term, but has remained a key part of Trump's inner circle over the years. He went to jail for President Trump. I'm not sure how much more you could show loyalty, which is what President Trump values. A former Trump advisor told NBC News. Surely Elon is his guy, and they get along great, but there is just another level here with Navarro. If this turns out to be an all-out war, very much doubt Peter is the one who is going to come out on the wrong end of it. Yeah, the former said. I really wish it was not so public. I'm not sure how exactly it will play out, but I know that the president very much values what Peter did for him. He served 4 months in federal prison last year, after he was convicted of contempt of Congress for defying a congressional subpoena from the House committee that investigated January 26, 2021 attack on the Capitol. Hours after his release from prison in July, he took the stage at the Republican National Convention and fiercely defended Trump. Asked on Tuesday about the apparent beef between Musk and Navarro, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who is absolutely useless for the record, said told CNBC, whatever. We are the most transparent administration in history, expressing our disagreements in public. So her little language is, yeah, whatever. Not taking it's not taking it seriously at all. Dumbass Chuck Schumer. I don't really give a shit what he has to say, but I'll read it anyway. The chaos within the Trump administration is shown a few minutes ago when Elon Musk called Peter Navarro a moron. That's Musk's words. He called him a moron. Schumer said, "Their plan is so crazy, so controversial that this administration cannot get its act together with them calling names about each other, to and against one another about his tariff plans." Honestly, Chuck Schumer, you can go fuck yourself, because you allowed them to have unlimited money. You allowed their budget to pass. So I honestly do not give a fuck what that man has to say. He could have stopped. He could have put this stopped this administration doing a lot of things. So you'll have no bloody sympathy from me whatsoever. I'm not giving that man any sympathy at all. Even American cookies contain ingredients from outside the US. Of course, Joe. Of course they do. I wonder who is the man in Elon's and Trump's relations, says Joe. He also says Levitt is a poster girl for the dumb broad Trump keeps repeating. Nagar forgets most of all American industry and manufacturers also mean mere assemblers. Very good point there, Joe, as well. But yeah, they'll probably try and keep it behind closed doors going forward. Probably in a signal chat, most likely, more than anything, guys. That'll probably be where the spat will be taking place more than anything. But yeah, so I mean, it's nice to see a bit of you can have a bit of a laugh at them, considering that they are destroying the world right now, because they are literally destroying the world right now. But we needed but I thought that was just funny, just calling him a moron and dumber than a sack of bricks. I just thought it was a bit funny. As is this funny video, guys. So normally I would do the funny memes, but obviously as my voice is so battered right now, it's near to next impossible for me to do the funny memes. So I'm going to hold off on them until my voice is a lot better. But I did decide to get a funny video for us to see ourselves out before we're done here. So I hope you enjoy this one here. This is actually a really good. I already listened to it, but it's Trump's tariffs, and it's from Austin Usco. We've done some clips of him before, but I don't know. but we haven't seen this one here. So I hope you guys get a laugh out of this one, that's for sure.
We are so back. We're so back. We are bringing the stocks back to 1930s prices. We are bringing back the great American sweatshop factory because we've gotten rid of a lot of factories and we need those factories. We need the workers to be working in the factories for very minimum wages. And we have placed a lot of tariffs on a lot of countries, including the country of the black and white DEI Democratic Penguins. That's right, we placed huge tariffs on the Penguins. And as far as I'm concerned, they've never made anything good for us, the Penguins. I don't know. Do you use anything made by a penguin? I don't think I've used anything made by penguins. I've never done that. So that's why we're placing huge tariffs. We're going to be doing mass penguin deportations. We're deporting them from zoos across the country. And you know what? SeaWorld's getting hit the hardest. SeaWorld, because I don't like SeaWorld. I never did, by the way. And we're doing a lot of changes. We're making depressions great again. We're going to see a very great depression, one that we've never seen ever. And it's going to be so great, so bigly.
Oh dear. I'm sure it is, guys. I'm sure it's gonna be. Hope you guys got a laugh out of that anyway, all things considered. So my next live stream will not be until tomorrow night. I will obviously be recording short videos. I have no plans currently to do any main videos because of my current state. I do have some things I'm going to try and do to deal with this chesty cough. Some things, I've got some options I want to try doing to help counter what I've got. So one person suggested that I need to start taking vitamins. Well, I've got some vitamins. I'm going to be taking them one a day. The ones I've got here, we'll see how they do. I've got some other things that I want to try to help with regards to my health. I am sorry that these live streams are short, and I'm sorry that I'm not getting main videos out because I do want to do more. I really do. But I want to. I know even though I'm feeling crap, I still want to do live streams because I still want to interact with you guys. Still want to have that communication. Still talk about the stories as much as I possibly can. So I do appreciate people coming out whenever they can as well. So I will be back tomorrow evening. There is no Prime Minister's questions tomorrow, but I will be back for the Snowflake Watch tomorrow night. So do join me for that at least, so we can have a chat then. I haven't at the moment got anything planned. I haven't got the live stream scheduled for Thursday, but I will schedule in a live stream. Originally, I was going to do it co-host with somebody, but I'm not sure how that's going to work right now in my state because I don't know how long I'll be able to go and whatnot. So I'm going to postpone doing that anyway. But yeah, I will be doing a live stream on Thursday and Friday because I want to do it and I enjoy doing these live streams, guys, because it's important that we talk about this stuff. And I'm using far less of my voice because I'm not doing long format videos anyway. So my voice is very much looked after at the moment. But yeah, thank you guys for all coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Appreciate you guys coming along. Like I said, all the articles are linked in the description if you guys want to check them out there. And just before I go, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, share across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Please consider joining the YouTube membership as well for just as little as 99p. You get access to some cool stuff there. And you can also check out Rumble and Patreon. There is exclusive content on them, just not this week, but there is some very interesting stuff that's been dropped on them for the past couple of weeks. So do feel free to check them out as well. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.